right, going back to manga, this great, awesome book. We're covering something very different kind of manga, the Shojo Manga. After all these videos I did with James, we're gonna get a little feminine now. The Rose of Versailles by Riyoko Ikeda, very famous girls manga, right? Taking place in the period before the French Revolution. My beliefs are what everyone considered sane before 1789. Where's that from? Who's that from? Of course, to Japanese women at the time, Europe, particularly the Romantic period of Europe, with these blonde hair, blue-eyed people, very exotic, very alien to them. Just as their traditional culture, Japanese or Chinese, was exotic to us. Of course, not so much anymore. The comic was very popular. Of course, the mostly characters are historical figures, but the central character is fictional Oscar Francois de Georges, okay, Lady Oscar. Okay? Lady Oscar is the main character, a girl essentially raised as a man by her father. When the mother dies in childbirth, he wants his child to become a captain of the guard like him. So even though she's a girl, he raises her in marksmanship, fencing, horsemanship, strategy, and she eventually becomes the bodyguard of the king, the head of the bodyguards. Very interesting. Travesti, very Anne Rice-ish, I guess you'd say, before Anne Rice. It's funny too because their sequel, Orpheus's Window at the Russian Revolution, is very Ayn Rand, if you remember We the Living. And like I mentioned, in 1978, the story was made into a live-action feature with the English title Lady Oscar. Yes, on YouTube, I've seen parts of it. Lady Oscar is played by Catriona MacColl, the British actress in all the Lucio Fulci films. Very interesting movies. A very beautiful woman, very charming, both in real life, I've met her, and in the film. She has a nude scene, a little more humorous, and spoiler, unlike the manga, she actually survives at the end. Okay. None of this is going to end well because all these characters, what's happened to them. Marie Antoinette is the main female character. You know what's going to happen to her. Right? Anyhow, we'll do a little sample here. Rose of Versailles. The alliance could be in danger. Who is this? That's Empress Maria Theresa, the Habsburgs, Austria. Okay, I'm kind of a fan of the Habsburgs. I liked her historically. Of course, the problem is, of course, Madame du Barry, the famous Madame du Barry, the mistress of the father of the king. Right? I was born a lonely commoner, but I managed to obtain the rank of countess. I have everything I want: the love of the king, power, jewels, and a castle. And now I'll make the crown princess speak to me. I'll make her realize who has the most authority. Yeah, it's like, well, dude, where's the samurais? Where's a World War II stories? Where I said this is for women. This is what they liked. Okay, soap operas. Okay, lots of fashionable women with, of course, like, what are these doing here? These are not literally here behind her. It's a lot of symbolism. Okay, a lot of flowers. You see also the panel layouts. They're very, they kind of meld. I actually like that. I actually like doing that in my own art. So because it sort of adds, it adds like a flow to it. You see flowers. It's not literally flowers there. It's symbolic. Of course, and the Maria Theresa's daughter is insulting the king. That's going to affect the alliance between Austria and France. And of course, you see this scene of her. I taught her the worst thing a woman could do is to sell her body to a man. How can I now expect her to be polite to a woman like Madame du Barry? Of course, the headstrong princess. She won't speak to this prostitute, essentially. How can I speak to that woman, even if the king orders me to? Why, that would mean I'd acknowledge the presence of a prostitute and a mistress at this court. I can't recognize her. This has nothing to do with what the king's daughters tell me. It has to do with my own beliefs. I can't recognize her. Oh my God. Yeah, I will show her only my scorn, right? Oh, how dare you? Right, so you can see, it's like, I think it's great, actually, but I get, this is obviously for girls. I sent Oscar's mother to the Bastille. Fire Oscar's father, right? General Judges. It's just funny. There she is. And of course the tears, the big eyes, look at the eyes, you get lost in the pools of light. Okay. So yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. The Japanese romanticized view of Europe at the time. Right? And of course now she's gonna have to talk to her. Right? She's forced to. Haha! I win the battle of wills. And then even then, she still manages to avoid having to talk to her. Because now Oscar shows up, you don't really see this character in this thing. That's Oscar Judges. That's a woman. Right? Now there's no confusion. Everyone knows. It's not like she is hiding herself as a man. Okay? Everyone knows she's a woman, but she's just pretty much, dresses as a man and fights like a man. There's a lot of action. The TV show that came out in the 80s, the animation was done, the character designs was done by the guy that ended up doing Saint Seiya, which was very different. But there was a lot of action in it, as you can imagine, lots of sword play. They wanted to appeal to more than just women. Yeah. You see, the gossip, yeah, like women love that shit. So anyway, that is a little, of course, he's not gonna declare war on France for this, but it's the exaggeration. Right? You see the fangs, yeah. Now, of course, France eventually attacks Austria anyway with a very different government. And that's the whole backdrop of the Rose of Versailles. The ending is very, very tragic. Oscar actually turns against the very royalty that she was bound by duty by her father to protect. Okay? You could argue whether that was good or bad. Of course, the French Revolution was very complex. Okay, you grew up in America, you think the peasants took control and killed the aristocracy. It was a bourgeois revolution. Your third estate were thoroughly merchants and bankers. And sans-culottes, the most violent radicals of the Jacobins, were the working urban people, the clergy and the peasants, the farmers. They supported the church and the aristocracy. And of course, like Carlyle said, the French Revolution, it may have been a dangerous thing, but the French aristocrats kind of had it coming. Okay, half of them supported the various forms of the revolution, and it wasn't just one revolution. It just wasn't one faction. The Girondins were very much in line with Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson. Of course, they were the more moderate. Okay, you can't control. Once you break that authority, though, you really can't control what comes next. You can be Menshevik, but you're gonna be outdone by Bolshevik. You get what I'm saying? So, but that's neither here nor there. You see here. It was just kind of funny when she has to actually talk to her now. Haha, I win the battle. Yeah, she had to talk to her. And then, of course, Oscar's like, Your Highness, there are so many people at Versailles today. Oh, she's gonna faint. Oh, the poor... Look at her clothing. Actually, look at her clothing. Look at all the detail put in here. The fucking drapery. I've lost. The crown prince has been bested by a prostitute. Oh my god, where's my Panzer combat? Okay, but Oscar comes in, Your Highness. My god, what pride this girl has. She is born to be a queen. Right? Only 16, but her heart is already that of a queen. Ironically, later, Oscar goes against her. It's interesting that the character, how she's portrayed here, of course, later, she's more seen, I guess you'd say, in the line of how Marie Antoinette was viewed, which we now know, surprise, surprise, a lot of what was said about Marie Antoinette was bullshit. propaganda. Let them eat cake. Sounds great. Okay, she never actually said that. Okay, you've had other people say similar things actually today on camera, but regardless, the French Revolution is definitely something to look into if you're not familiar with it. It really is. You could argue the change. You could argue that it is the beginning of the modern world, which is to say, the world that is already starting to collapse. Regardless of the French aristocrats, friggin', in my opinion, had it coming. But yeah, that's Rose of Versailles. You can see there's the elements I like about this as well. Okay, as well as elements of all these comics. A really great selection showing the the epicness of it. I don't know how else to say it. Of course, we're not done. We have one more comic to do before we're done, and it is a doozy. It is a heavy one. It is one that actually was one of the first translated into English in America. It's animated. Very, very hard to watch. Okay, similar to like when I was doing the firebombing videos, we're gonna deal with in the final story in this book. We're gonna deal with this. Very, very heavy, very heavy. If you're familiar with Grave of the Fireflies, which is sort of a kind of a variation in a way on this, of course, dealing with the firebombing and Operation Starvation. I told you about that in the B29 video. It's anyway. So let's go back to even here when you have all the beauty and the pageantry. All these people are going to die. She's going to be beheaded, okay? You can't escape history. And the Japanese, even in their most romantic, never do that. Everything that you see intertwined here, even humorously or horrifically or poetically, okay? It's always destiny, okay? I don't think we in the West at this point can even spell the word, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let me not get distracted. One more to go in manga, the world of Japanese comics.